Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Again, it's me, Rob Marsiglio, sales representative with Keller Williams Referred Urban, out here in Durham region serving the great people of this part of the GTA and doing my best to bring you weekly content on this channel. Keep you up to date as to everything that is going on with the greater Toronto area real estate market. Today's a juicy video. You can see from the thumbnail, record low number of home sales, at least since 1999. We're going to dive into some of the market watch data, beautiful charts that I presented. Notice my sweater, my t-shirt over here, polar bears on it. I think it's because we skipped the fall market this year, folks. We went right into winter. Let's jump in and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Here we go, kicking it off with the tweet from this great looking guy here, Robert Marsiglio. Anyways, 4,642 sales reported by TRREB in September of 2023, so this past month, are the fewest for September going back to 1999 when there were 4,636 sales reported. Now, just for some context on those numbers, the population of the GTA in 1999 was just over 4.5 million people. The population of the GTA in 2023 is just shy of 6.4 million people. I think that population context is pretty important because you'd expect things to gradually increase as the population increases, at least number of transactions, but that is not the case. I think it just kind of really speaks to the unaffordability of our market, as well as kind of the unrealistic nature or expectations of some sellers that we are seeing. Not that you ever hope for stress in the market, but I guess the stress that we were expecting to set in at this point, it's kind of been kicked down the road a little bit more, that can. So we will see as the stress builds up, if the stress builds up, if it leads to more sales in the future. Now, here's the sales data reported. This is across all TRREB markets. This is per their market watch with an emphasis on September. So any of these numbers that you are seeing is September sales data. So you can see 4,642. We already talked about how it's 1999, the last time that we had numbers this low for the reported number of sales. You can see where we usually would have hovered for a September. Call 2014, 2015 relatively normal markets, let's say. Things started heating up in 2016, and then 2017, 2018, 2019, by the time we got around there, was a little cooler. Anomalies here for sure in 2020. That was delayed spring market. We didn't get a spring market that year. Everything was really pushed back to later in the year, which is why we have this kind of massive number of 11,000. But you can see the last 2 years, 5,000 sales in September, as well as the kind of 4,600-ish sales that we saw this past September, definitely setting some historical lows. A lot of the narrative over the past couple of years has been the lack of supply. So much demand in the market, as we could see from those sales numbers a couple of years back. That was what was really driving prices up. Well, we can see that the sales numbers have really started to come down, but what is happening on the supply side of the equation? And here's your answer. Again, this is an emphasis on September for new listings as reported by TRREB. What you can see here is that just over 16,000 new listings that we saw in September of this year. First off, it was a very big jump from what we saw in August of this past year. So big jump in the amount of new inventory that came to market. Again, as a little bit of a caveat, let's remember that terminations are also up right now. So this new listings number may be a little bit inflated. You might be getting a property that is counting as 2 or 3 listings in the month, but nevertheless, it is the third highest number of new listings in the past 10 years. As you can tell when we switch back to this chart, 2020, like we said, delayed market. We saw over 20,000 new listings in September. And then back in 2017, we saw just over 16,400 new listings. But that is the top 3. That's your podium for all time on TRREB. There's never been another year where September has seen more listings than, our 16,258, 16,433, or our 20,435. That all translates to this record here, which is our sales as a percentage of new listings, or our sales to new listings ratio, you may hear it referred to. Before we jump back to those numbers, I just want you to know that if you have a SNLR, a sales to new listings ratio of less than 40%, that is when you're in buyer's market territory by the classical definition. 40 to 60%, that is a balanced market, and above 60%, so you're seeing a ton of sales relative to the new listings coming to market, that is a seller's market. We just cannot keep that inventory on the market. It is selling out extremely quickly. This 28.6 is the second lowest sales to new listing ratio of all time. I'm not just talking September anymore. You have to go all the way back to January 2009 when we saw, I believe it was around 25.5 in early 2009. That's like talking, around global financial crisis time. But 28.6 is the second lowest, like I said, all time, and firmly in buyer's market territory. Now, it wouldn't be a video of mine if we didn't touch on months of inventory as well. So we can use the sales to new listings ratio or the months of inventory to kind of gauge whether we're in a buyer's or a seller's market. The definition may be a little more loosey-goosey for months of inventory. I've read anywhere between 3 and 6 months of inventory is a balanced market. If you're getting less than 3, you're in a heavy seller's market. More than 6, you're in a heavy buyer's market. But again, I've always talked about how it's more so the rate of change of months of inventory that is important. That's when you're going to see, the foundation laid for price drops, or when you'll actually see price drops happen, is when we're seeing big drastic swings in this months of inventory. And again, so you can see that over the last 10 years, going back to the beginning of 2014, this number here represents 4.07 months of inventory. So really, anything above this line 3 to the top of the chart would be considered a balanced market. But you can see starting back from where we were here in, let's count backwards here, September, August, July, June, May is when we really bottomed out months of inventory. It's been a pretty rapid ascent. We haven't really seen anything like this with the exception of the big market slowdown in 2017 that we saw, as well as that quick blip that we saw in 2020 thanks to COVID. So again, 4.07 for our months of inventory. You'd have to go all the way back to February of 2009 when months of inventory actually broke through 5 months of inventory at that month. But that's the last time that we've seen anything over 4 months of inventory right across the Greater Toronto area. So kind of another check in the box for we are, if not in one, definitely heading toward a buyer's market. Let's kind of a recap on what is happening with our sales numbers, our listings numbers, our inventory situation. How's that all translating into prices? Well, I've put together some average detached home data for the 5 regions we cover. So again, Toronto, Durham, York, Peel, and Halton regions. So let's quickly get into that. This is again an emphasis on September. So you're going to see some numbers highlighted on top of the chart. That is just kind of updating us where we have been at in September, going all the way back to the beginning of 2014. Kick things off with our Toronto detached market. So the average sale price of a Toronto detached home in September was $1,724,007. That is up from August. It is up from September of last year, but it is down from September of 2021. Durham region is the only other market that we actually saw the average sale price of a detached home kind of pick up relative to August. We had seen a couple months in a row of home prices declining. Saw a bit of a bounce back in that average detached home price number. Again, higher than it was in 2022, but lower than what we saw in September of 2021. Moving on to York region, and again, I'm done with the price gains months over month. We did not see price gains in any of the other regions. The average sale price of a detached home in York region came in just shy of $1.7 million. Again, broken record here, but up from where we were last year at this time, down from where we were in September of 2021. Peel region detached homes up slightly. I would call this even. We're talking less than $500 between last year's average sale price and this year's in September, but well below where we are at in 2021. And we'll wrap things up with Halton region, again, slightly down from August of this year, up from last year, but down from 2021. Now, those were the numbers that I felt were the most important to bring you from the TRREB Market Watch release for September 2023 data. Just really want to hammer home that sales numbers are very low. Inventory is building up. This is valuable information, I believe, for both buyers and sellers. Buyers, just take your time out there. There's no rush to do anything right now. Sellers, if you need to sell, take this data and understand that the market has slowed down a ton. Inventory will just sit there if it's not showing nicely, if it's not priced properly, it will just sit. So let's kind of rehone our expectations based on the data that I provided today. If there's anything that you want to hear more about from this latest Market Watch release, something that you heard and maybe want to explain a little better, please let me know in the comments below. As always, I'm happy to try to dig into those numbers, those stats, those things that interest you a little more in future videos. I want to thank you so much for sticking with me through another video this week. Till we speak again next time, stay safe, cheers, and have a very happy Thanksgiving. Hey there, I really appreciate you watching this video all the way to the end. If you enjoyed it, I've got another video for you right here on the screen. And, while you're here, maybe just click on my face, subscribe to. I don't want you to miss anything going forward.